In today's material-driven world, where fame, wealth, and pleasure often take center stage, why do so many of us still feel empty, anxious, and disconnected? Carl Jung, the influential Swiss psychologist, recognized this dissonance. He observed how these pursuits did not lead to true happiness, but a growing sense of inner turmoil and isolation. Jung believed that the path to fulfillment lies in reconnecting with our soul, the core of our actual being, and rediscovering the part of ourselves we often overlook in the hustle of modern life. But how can we begin this search, and why is it so crucial for our well-being? Jung referred to this journey as the individuation process, the lifelong quest to become whole by integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of one's personality. It's not just about striving for perfection, but embracing the entirety of who we are. Life, in essence, is a search for our complete self. Jung believed that we form an unshakable foundation within ourselves by engaging in this process. Imagine being like a rock in the middle of a turbulent sea. Waves may crash over you, but you remain steady, untouched by the chaos surrounding you. How often do we find ourselves caught up in emotional storms? Wouldn't it be a relief to find a place of inner calm amidst the noise? Life, according to Jung, unfolds in two stages. We focused on education, relationships, and careers in the first half. We're busy shaping our identity, throwing ourselves into the demands of daily life. This external engagement is essential because it helps solidify our sense of self. But how often do we get so caught up in these pursuits that we forget to nurture our inner world? Jung warned against losing ourselves in abstract thinking or distancing ourselves from the physical, natural world. Even in his later years, he valued simplicity. Jung would often retreat to his home in the countryside, tending his fire, drawing water from the well, and living without modern conveniences. Why did he value this so highly? Perhaps it's a reminder that grounding ourselves in everyday reality keeps us connected to something more profound in inner life. As we move into the second half of life, our focus should shift inward. This is when we begin the more profound work of individuation, exploring the unconscious realms of our psyche. Have you ever felt like you're only living half of your potential? Jung believed many people face midlife crisis because they've neglected this internal exploration. They've spent so long in the external world that they don't know how to confront the inner one. So when real life challenges strike, people feel lost. How do we avoid this fate? How can we align both outer and inner worlds to lead a more complete life? Jung argued that conformity is one of the greatest threats to this journey. How often are we persuaded to blend in, to follow the crowd, even when it means losing a sense of who we are? Conformity can be the opposite of courage, leading us away from our authentic selves. How many of us find ourselves surrounded by people yet feel profoundly alone? This isolation occurs when we are disconnected from our souls. The search for the soul is not for the faint of the heart. It requires solitude, reflection, and a willingness to face our innermost fears. But when we avoid this search, our soul does not remain silent. It disturbs us, making us restless and uncomfortable. Have you ever felt that nagging sense of unease, even when everything seems to be going well? Jung believed that life's hardships are not meaningless. They are the catalysts that push us toward growth. We may try to avoid our problems, but without these trials, we lack the motivation to delve deeper into our soul's work. Many people would instead take the easy road, distracting themselves with meaningless activities to avoid confronting their true selves. Yet the road to fulfillment is narrow and challenging, filled with struggles that ultimately enrich our souls. Without nourishing the soul, we risk letting our inner demons, what Jung called dragons and devils, take control. Could the very things we fear most be the key to unlocking our profound potential? Jung compared modern society's soulless existence to the fate of primitive tribes, which withered away when they lost their sense of meaning. What happens to us when we lose our sense of purpose? Do we slowly fade despite being surrounded by everything we need for survival? Jung challenges us to embark on an adventure of self-discovery, exploring the depths of our unconscious to reclaim our sense of purpose. How many of us are willing to take on this challenge? Do we continue living a banana life, chasing superficial rewards, or seeking something more significant? Jung emphasized the importance of dreams as a bridge to our soul, calling them the guiding words of the soul. Dreams are more than just random thoughts. They open the door to the hidden recesses of our psyche. Are we listening to what our dreams are trying to tell us, or do we dismiss them as mere nonsense? Jung encouraged us to engage directly with our unconscious through techniques like active imagination. Unlike dreaming, this process happens while fully awake, offering a direct conversation with the deeper parts of ourselves. Can you imagine what might happen if you took the time to listen? Jung himself experienced a profound existential crisis called the dark night of the soul. He faced visions that tore him apart, plunging him into the unknown. But through this confrontation with his unconscious, he emerged stronger, wiser, and more connected to his true self. In one of his most famous works, The Red Book, he wrote, my soul, where are you?" After years of wandering, he realized that the soul is always there, waiting for us to return. What if the path to your soul is not in someone else's footsteps, but your unique journey? Could your salvation lie within, waiting for you to take the first step? When we embrace the search for our soul, we notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that reflect the alignment between our inner and outer worlds. Could these patterns be more than mere chance? Are they signs that we are on the right path? According to Jung, the first step toward individuation is confronting our shadow, the hidden, darker parts of ourselves. This shadow is not our enemy, but a source of untapped potential. By integrating it into our personality, we transform it into an ally. How often do we project our unresolved issues onto others? What would happen if we took responsibility for these inner struggles instead? Once we have integrated the shadow, we can move on to what Jung called the Anima and Animus, the feminine and masculine aspects within us. For men, the Anima represents the source of life and creativity. For women, the Animus is the source of meaning and initiative. Integrating these elements brings us closer to the goal, wholeness. Could we miss out on the richness of life by ignoring these aspects of ourselves? Jung compared the individuation process to the work of alchemists seeking the philosopher's stone, a symbol of self-realization. What if the real treasure is not outside of us but within? When we feel lost or unsure of our life's direction, perhaps the answer is not in external solutions, but in surrendering to the wisdom of the self, our constant inner guide. Could it be that true healing comes not from outside, but from within? In the end, Jung didn't see himself as a healer, but as a guide. The natural cure, he believed, comes from within the individual. By embracing this journey towards self-discovery, we improve our relationship with ourselves, others, and nature. As Jung saw it, life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be experienced. What would happen if we stopped looking outside for answers and instead turned inward? As Jung famously said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awake." Are you ready to wake up?